As I'm getting ready to say this, I realize it's going to be the second time in 3 episodes that I've quoted a Roosevelt, and so I'm thinking down the line I'm gonna have to quote Eleanor somewhere. Probably use the one from Talladega Nights, if I'm guessing. But anyway, Teddy Theodore Roosevelt, my favorite of the Roosevelts, just ahead of Eleanor, once supposedly said, and in my research I found out it was supposedly, but let's just pretend he said it, that comparison is the thief of joy. If Teddy could see all the comparison play out these days on social media, he'd probably smack us in the mouth. And based on everything I've read about him, he could probably get away with it too. So we have turned comparison into some sort of Olympic level sport. If you think that you've got a pretty solid life, that you have this strong desire to feel like a complete loser, here's what you do. You go on social media of your choosing, it doesn't matter which one, and you just start scrolling. You do that for about 10 minutes and you will feel like shit in no time. Trust me. So you're sitting online at the DMB, you got on your khakis, the ones with the coffee stain in the crotchal area, and you're trying to get the tags renewed on your perfectly fine, if not luxury automobile, and you open up social media while you're waiting. And holy crap, everybody there is thriving except you. You're the only person that's not thriving. You know who's really thriving? Karen. She has it all, doesn't she? She recently bought a boat. Some dude you went to high school with who couldn't spell cat if you gave him the C and the T owns a lake house now. Another guy you know has abs at 47. We compare ourselves to people we went to high school with. They made movies about high school reunions and all the shenanigans that come with it long before social media, but now every day is one big high school reunion where everybody's flexing, trying to outdo each other. And when we see people that we otherwise like doing exceptionally well, whether fake or real, we don't always handle that with grace. And if we're being completely honest, sometimes the first thought that comes to our head isn't good for them. It's how did that idiot pull that off? You know, we've all done that. How does that dipshit have a nicer truck than I do? How are they going on vacation again? That guy can barely spell investment and somehow owns all that rental property. How does that work? I know Karen doesn't even know how to drive that boat. Is she going to sit and look at it all day or is she going to pay somebody to drive her around? We know Karen can't drive a car, much less a boat. And then comes the truly unfair part of all of this, and that's that people who don't even seem to have to try at all still come out smelling like a rose sometimes. Those are the people that eat carbs all day and never gain weight, right? Like I look at one spaghetti noodle, and next thing you know, I need to have a heart to heart with Jenny Craig. That's a humbling moment for people. When we see stuff like that, it humbles us and puts us in our place pretty quickly, which there's nothing wrong with that until it gets into toxic comparison. So we're comparing ourselves to each other already, but then social media comes and pours gas on it. And all because we are not comparing ourselves to just people we know anymore. We're now comparing ourselves to literally millions of carefully curated highlight reels. And that's, to me, that's important to remember that nobody is really posting about their regular lives. People post vacations, when they get promoted, their date nights, their new cars, their mountain views, their gym selfies, all with perfect lighting and an inspirational caption type 5 minutes after they just got done arguing with somebody in the Target parking lot that they didn't show us. That's the game. And I do the same thing. Once a year, we go on a really nice vacation and we post the pictures of that vacation, and nobody sees the other 51 weeks of the year where I'm sitting in Zoom meetings wanting to bang my head against a desk or answering emails, hundreds of them, typing up reports, paying bills, trying to remember all these damn passwords that I have, and wondering why my lower back suddenly sounds like bubble wrap every time I try to stand up. That doesn't make the Instagram, right? My wife works at a K2 elementary school building. She's not posting about Timmy's little mishap in the hallway after he scarfed down 15 dino nuggets and a chocolate milk and took 3 or 4 runs on the merry-go-round. That scene does not ever touch Facebook, right? And somewhere along the way, we started comparing our full behind the scenes footage to everybody else's movie trailer, right? You can't win that game. And it's a source of self inflicted misery for a lot of people. And, this sounds like, oh, this is supposed to be a middle aged deal, right, Jason? That sounds like a young people problem, but is it though? At this point, is it just a young people problem? I don't think it is. The fact of the matter is, we have to understand that there's always going to be someone that's richer, younger, happier, more successful, better looking, more disciplined. And the worst part might be that sometimes we compare ourselves to people we don't even like, which is wild to me. We don't want anything to do with their life. We don't want to be them, but somehow we still want all their stuff. And to me, that's envy. And we don't talk about envy much anymore. We talk about greed all day. You can turn on the news or get on social media, and if you make $1 billion or more, buddy, people cannot stand you. They hate you and they assume that you're a greedy person. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. I don't know any billionaires, so I couldn't tell you. But we never talk about the flip side of that same coin, which is envy, which is where a lot of that comes from, because envy disguises itself as fairness and we let it slide. As in, it's not fair that he or she or they have more stuff than I have because I'm quote unquote just as good or a better person than they are. That's not reality. So I got a buddy named Michael who is so positive that it's borderline suspicious sometimes, and you can tell him that some halfwit won the lottery, and the first thing out of his mouth is good for him. Karen's in Tahiti, good for her. It's not good for him, wink, wink, while internally hoping that it rains in Tahiti the whole time she's there. He genuinely means that's awesome. And there's a lot of wisdom in that. I've tried to be more like that as of late. No one's win is automatic loss for us. No one's success is our failure. It's not a zero sum game. There's not a limited supply of meaningless lives available out there. And so, to me, success is when you reach a place where somebody else's success, your first response becomes good for them. Now you can consider yourself a success, in my view, even if it means being gracious about Karen and her stupid ass boat. Rest, don't rust.